Good. Go ahead.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Pep Talks. Let me explain what's happening. Don't turn off. Just yet. At least let me explain. Eddie's not here. We had two guests set up, and Eddie and me. And what happened was Eddie had something happen. He's fine. He's completely fine. He'll be back next week. Thank God. But it was okay because it was going to be me and two guests, so we'd have a whole lot of shit to talk about. Well, one of the guests had some auto maintenance problems and couldn't get out here. Cars in the shop. Texted me a half hour before the podcast. And then the other guest, I called him just to see if he was coming, and he had completely forgotten about the podcast. So it's just me and you and Emma. Hi, Emma.
Hi.
Thank God for Emma. At least I have a voice that will talk back to me if I ask for it. How are you, Emma?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm just over the moon. I'm so happy to be alone here. Doing this for the first time alone. This is my first time doing this alone. I'm so sorry for you people listening out there. I want to start by apologizing to you. I hope you'll stay with me for the hour because it's going to be thrilling, and whatever kind of violent experiment comes out of this, you'll be able to say you witnessed me doing this alone for an hour of you and I and Emma, and everybody else couldn't make it. So, what are we going to talk about? Well, I did a show last night. First of all, my guests that I invited into the studio are my buddies. One of them's calling in, by the way, so we're going to have a call. He was good enough to call in. And the two guys I was going to invite in, one of them is promoting something, right? And it's not very... Look, it's a comedy festival we're doing, and he's an old friend, and I thought he wanted to come on the podcast and promote his comedy festival, which, by the way, I've been promoting by, talking about this comedy festival for forever. But anyway, he didn't make it in, so I purposely had another guy come on the show because this guy, he's a promoter and a producer, and he's not funny. So I wanted to balance it out with a funny person. But anyway, so I did this show last night. Oh, so these comics these guys are coming in, they're my friends from Black Comedy. I, for those of you who don't know, was the only white Jewish comedian in black comedy clubs in LA for 10 years, about. And the guy who's promoting the comedy festival, he owned the only black comedy club in LA for near on, 5, 7, 8 years. In the early 2000s, in the late 90s and early 2000s, which was the only comedy club I was ever a regular at for a really long time, for many years. And he has this comedy festival now called the Los Angeles Stand-Up Comedy Festival, which is going to happen at the end of June 22nd and 23rd in Barnsdall Park, which I'm in. And anyway, he was going to come. So he didn't. So now we're stuck here together. And I'm not sure which is worse. I'm not sure if this speaking I really feel like a guy who speaking to 3 cameras in a room with a microphone and lighting. I feel like a serial killer in a movie. I feel like a guy who's kidnapped somebody and is making videos to, like you see like some crazy psychopath setting up cameras in a room, being alone. I wonder if this is worse or if it's worse talking to an audience who hates you. I'm not sure which one is worse. If you talk to an audience who hates you, which I do from time to time, it's only 5 minutes or 7 minutes or 12 minutes of that misery. And that's bad, but this is an hour. This is an hour of sitting in a room and talking to nobody. And I just don't know if that is, I just don't know. I wonder if this is like the height of my sort of social life, just sitting in a room talking to nobody. Anyhow, I did a show last night with I do this show every week, by the way, if you ever want to catch me. and you're in LA, and I usually don't talk about this, but really have nothing else to say. So I'm going to demystify this for you. If you ever are in LA and you want to go watch a kind of quirky, weird comedy thing on a Tuesday, there's a place called Canter's Deli. It's a fucking deli on Fairfax, south of Melrose, and they have a comedy show. Every week, starts at 6, and they put up anyone who wants to come, which means it's kind of an open mic. But then they have professional comedians who like myself, who will drop in and do a spot. And I'm usually there. I'm there 3 weeks a month, 2-3 weeks a month. And I did this show last night, and the comic who went on before me was a gay guy. His name was Eric Hahn, and he was pretty funny. And he did a bit about glory holes. Do you know what a glory hole is? For those of you who don't know, a glory hole is Emma, do you know what a
Yeah, I feel like everybody knows what a glory hole is, and if you don't, I'm really sorry, but don't Google it.
Oh!
Because you'll get some weird shit, I feel like, if you Google that.
Okay, that was the best advice. Yeah, so all of you know what a glory hole is. So he was doing some glory hole material, which sometimes I think comics do, and this is for pretty dark stuff, you know? Wouldn't you say, Emma?
A glory hole? I mean, I guess it depends on the person, but yeah, if you're hitting up a glory hole, I don't think you've had a great day. You know? Right?
God.
It's not your best moment. No one's like, yeah, I peeked at the glory hole.
It's a low point.
Yeah.
It's a low point. So the guy was doing the glory. I don't remember exactly what the glory hole material was about. It jumped in my mind. His name was Eric Hahn, and the name Glory Hole Hahn pumped into my mind. Pumped. Wow, Freud. Jumped into my mind, and I went on and did a routine about Glory Hole Hahn. I followed the guy, by the way. I didn't follow him into Glory Hole. I followed the guy at the comedy show, and I went on and did a skit about Glory Hole Hahn. And if Glory Hole Hahn was a baseball player, you know, like it just sounds like the name of a baseball player. Like if they were, you know, it's the 8th inning and imagine The Natural, the movie The Natural. Have you seen that, by the way, Emma? Do you know that movie?
I haven't.
Okay, so The Natural is a almost supernatural baseball superhero who's played by Robert Redford, and it's probably one of the best baseball movies ever made. It's beautiful. It's Kim Basinger when she was at her peak of her beauty, and Wilford Brimley when he was in his most beautiful, he was at his peak of his sexual appeal in Hollywood. Anyway, so I did the skit about Glory Hole Hahn as if he was the Natural. Come on, Hahn. You're up. Grab a bat. I have a bat for it. Anyway, it got big laughs at the show. I think mainly because it was a spontaneous thing. So the crowd, I think, sometimes rewards you as a comic when I'm not going to repeat this material because I don't have an audience to laugh or not laugh. But I think sometimes the crowd rewards you based on how they know that you're just made something up. They know that you thought of something that you couldn't have composed, that you couldn't have premeditated. And so I think that they gave me a certain amount of love because this glory hole bit was completely made up. Anyway, do you watch baseball movies, Emma?
No, I wouldn't say as a theme. I don't watch baseball movies, but I've seen a few.
Okay, which movies have you seen?
What's the one with the dog?
I don't know.
So
I don't know.
Fuck, why can't I think of it? It's Bud, Air Bud.
Oh, was that baseball?
Is that baseball? No, that might not be.
Oh,
baseball.
that was basketball.
Oh.
That's
no,
okay.
Isn't there also a baseball, Angels in the Outfield? Is there a dog in that?
No, I don't know. I think you're speaking out of my knowledge of baseball movies now.
Yeah, okay, so maybe the better answer is no, I don't.
Okay. So but you saw Angels in the Outfield and you saw Air Bud.
Yeah, like over a decade ago.
Okay,
but
so
yeah.
sports movies are not your thing.
Not really, no.
Okay.
Sports aren't really my thing.
Okay, so, but you know, I think it may be appropriate in the spirit of Brody that he was a big baseball guy.
Yeah, he used to make me play the baseball game even though I knew nothing.
Oh, that must have been fucking hilarious. So,
it was a good time. He would coach me through it using non-baseball related cues until I guessed a name that was right. It was actually pretty fascinating, his ability to get me there regardless of the fact that he wasn't using any baseball terminology whatsoever.
That's incredible. That is totally incredible.
That's Brody, man.
Yeah. I can't even fumble through an hour with, without any game. So there's 3 great baseball movies. If you ever, I don't know, if it's ever on, you'll know that I told you this, okay, Emma? Mm-hmm. All right, so Field of Dreams is great. That's with Kevin Costner. That's a pretty great movie. The Bad News Bears is probably the best. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Okay, so that's probably the greatest that's a movie you could watch. Whether you were a fan of baseball or not, you could watch that movie and probably really get it. Because it's really not entirely about baseball. It's really about other stuff. And then there's The Natural, which is, this beautiful... Anyway, gay natural. The Gay Natural would be a very funny parody of The Natural. So anyway, now I think is a good time for an ad. I'm so sorry for you who are still tuning in. I apologize, and I want to tell you that you're loved. And this podcast today is an act of desperation. By the way, I think it's a good time to admit I would never do a podcast if I wasn't asked to by another brilliant comedian.
I don't know why I just realized this, but you're looking at the wrong camera.
Oh, where
it's
should I be?
The one on this side over here.
Over here?
Yeah, that one.
Oh,
that's
I should be looking right at you.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Just to add to the bizarre tragedy of this, I'm not even looking in the right place. Thank you for staying here with us, you 5 or 6 people who are still tuned in. You, whoever you are, make yourself known to me because you'll always have a special place in my heart. Now it's time for an ad. It's not easy. I think it's a good theme of today. It's not easy being a parent. I'm not a parent. But it's not easy for those people who are parents. If the teenage years aren't the worst, I'll eat my own hat. When you're trying to raise a moral, righteous child, take a hint from 90s horror movies and take a gentle step into the dark arts with the Terrifying Murder Bear. Terrifying Murder Bear is a 7-foot-tall man who wears a bear costume soaked in blood. Where did he come from? Who cares? The important thing is that Terrifying Murder Bear will keep a tight watch over your child from the shadows. A school, out with friends, sneaking off to a party. Terrifying Murder Bear sees it all. And the moment your kid tries weed, says a swear word, or gets carnal, Terrifying Murder Bear begins systematically slaughtering all of your teen's friends. Terrifying Murder Bear works with all children of all faiths, aged 13 to 19. Just like puberty, Terrifying Murder Bear cannot be called off, stopped, returned, or refunded. Keep your child's morality in check with Terrifying Murder Bear. Available at Walmart. Thank you, Terrifying Murder Bear. That is a new sponsor, Emma.
It's so exciting. And maybe actually terrifying is probably a better word for that.
Yeah.
Considering is that like a Terrifying Murder Bear, like a cousin of Chucky, the murder doll?
I didn't know.
Remember those movies?
Yeah.
Chucky?
Yeah. Were you a Chucky fan?
No, not at all.
I
actually didn't like horror movies at all until recently.
What recently changed your
I think being an adult and realizing it's not going to actually happen to me.
Whoa, you were a sensitive kid.
Yeah, they used to scare the crap out of me. I used to have a rule where I'd only watch them in theaters with other people or at other places. I would never watch them in my home, and I still don't really like watching them in my home. I don't want to invite that energy into my home. But I did watch The Haunting of Hill House in my home, and I liked that a lot. And then I saw Jordan Peele's new movie that came out, Us. I saw that in theaters, and that was very good. That.
Okay. So I haven't seen Us.
It was good. I think Get Out was better, but it was a good movie. It was scary. It made you think.
Okay, you saw Get Out.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's horror.
Yeah, I saw that in theaters too.
Would you describe, because a lot of people don't think Get Out is a horror film.
I think Get Out's more of a psychological thriller. I mean, it's got some horror aspects to it, but it's not like, I don't like gory horror films, like the Saw movies and stuff like that. Not my thing.
Okay, I don't like that. I think we're in lockstep on that, you and I.
Yeah, I don't need to see you get like hacked to bits and stuff, but I like a psychological thriller. I like want you to make me feel like I got mind fucked at the end of it. That's fine.
What about, okay, so have you seen Rosemary's Baby?
No, I haven't.
Okay, what about The Exorcist?
Scary?
Yeah, but it's more like Get Out.
Okay, so maybe I should watch it.
Maybe you should. I would be curious to know what you think of those 70s, like The Omen, Rosemary's Baby, The Exorcist, The Shining.
I've seen The Shining.
Okay, what about that? No,
I like that. No, that was good.
Okay,
that one was. I guess that's more on the horror side than the psychological side.
Right, because there's some supernatural shit going on.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's not like torture porn.
Right.
What you're talking about, when you say horror, I think Rosemary's Baby, because that's kind of what I grew up with as horror.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I don't like the torture porn type stuff.
Right. Which
I don't mind a good jump scare.
Right. What about silly, like really silly horror, like The Lost Boys?
I never saw that.
Oh, okay. Because there's comedy. The 80s had a lot of comedy.
I used to say I was the worst film school student ever because I've never seen anything.
Oh, you were in film school?
Yeah, I went to film school.
Where did you go?
I went to Emerson College.
Okay.
My degree was in sound for film, but I haven't seen a lot of things compared to a lot of kids at film school who have seen like every movie ever made.
Right, but you're studying sound, so it's not like...
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the important, like obviously Star Wars and stuff like that were like a big deal to the sound design community. I've seen all those.
Okay. What about so what is the thing? What do you get? I mean, there's got to be some, besides we know Game of Thrones that we both like that, but what's the stuff that you, like what, if you go on Amazon or Netflix or where do you go and what do you look for to watch?
I mean, I love TV.
Oh shit.
I love episodic stuff. I have a attention span of a goldfish.
Oh, so no, I might regret that I asked this.
That helps. No, I'm not, I don't like to be a brat about it, but I like, I don't know, I've been kind of stuck for TV lately since like Game of Thrones ended. I've been trying to be off my screens a little bit because I use them so much during the day for work.
Right.
I've been reading more and listening to more things instead of watching things, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
But my roommate and I are watching Chernobyl right now, the new HBO series, the mini series. Have you seen it?
No, that's not my thing.
No? It's good. It's well made.
Right, but we know, I grew up with Chernobyl.
You know what happens.
Yeah, you know what happens.
But it's interesting to see, and I don't know, they say it's historically accurate, and I don't know from whose side of what story it's historically accurate, but it's kind of fascinating to see see the story played out, I guess.
Is it episodic?
Yeah, it's a mini series.
It's a mini series.
So there's 5 episodes. I think they're all about an hour. I have 2 left, so I haven't finished it yet. But it's beautifully shot, and the writing is great.
Well, those are always red flags for me when people say that. It's right, beautifully shot, and that could mean. But come on, just give us some spoilers.
If you know the story of Chernobyl, then you kind of know it, but it's fascinating to see like just how the people who were on the ground during Chernobyl, like the workers,
right, and
the stuff that they went through. I feel like people don't really talk about that. They like, when you talk about the Chernobyl disaster, a lot of times people talk about, they tried to cover it up, this happened, that happened, they had to evacuate this many people, there's no way to know how many people were affected, and there's all these big grand ideas that get talked about, but not like the individuals who were in the plant that night who had to deal with that. And the first like 2 episodes is a lot of dealing with that, like the people who were there who were like, no, the like core exploded and the head of the plant or whatever, or that reactor, who says that's impossible, there's no way the core exploded, and they're like not believing his own employees, and that power structure of the people in the plant who had to deal with the immediate aftermath of it is kind of fascinating, because I didn't know all of that.
Okay, see, for me that would be horror.
That's horror.
Reenacting a real life disaster.
That's our
call. We have a caller. Hello?
Yo.
Is this Derrick?
Yeah, what up, Steve?
Hey, Derrick. This is you're live on Pep Talks with Emma and me.
Hello.
What's going on?
That's this is Derrick Ellis. He's one of the funniest comedians in the world. I initially wanted him to come on the show because I thought Eddie's audience would dig Derrick and Derrick's audience would dig Eddie. So Derrick, that's why I wanted you on the show. But tell these people about yourself. Introduce yourself, brother.
Oh, well, man, I'm just so happy to be out of jail. You know.
When did you get out?
Shit, I've been out. But I'm just so happy. I'm so happy.
You've been out
that I'm out. I just say that everywhere I go. You know.
You know, you've been out for years and you're still grateful.
Yeah, still grateful.
Are you still sober?
Well,
Because
I wasn't in jail I was in jail only for 11 days when I went to jail.
Yeah.
And you know, when you're in jail, you know, I went in jail for like something petty, right?
What did you go to jail for? Remind me. What did you go to jail for?
Oh, I bought some pussy. And well, what happened is that from an undercover, you know, I didn't know she was undercover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, those were the days you were still off the wagon.
Oh yeah, I was getting loaded.
Right.
So yeah.
And you're sober now, right?
Yeah. I was 12 years, man.
Man, and you
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Derrick. You know, I think you were more punctual when you were getting high.
Hey man, let me tell you something. Ain't nobody functional when they getting high. That's just the illusion.
No, I said punctual, not functional.
Oh, okay. okay. My bad.
That's all right, man. Hey, tell these people about, for real, tell these people about you're a comedian. How long have you been a comedian, D?
Well, man, I've been doing stand-up like over 27, 28 years.
It's longer than that, man. It's longer than that.
Well, you know what?
Why
I
are
say
you
that, but really, it could be like 30-something, but because I started when I was like 17 and a half.
Okay, and and can you tell us how old you are now, or is that?
Yeah, I'm 50 now. I just turned 50 years old.
Okay,
man.
so you've been doing comedy about 30 years.
Yeah.
Okay,
basically.
so Derrick, so for those of you who don't know, Derrick, and that's all of you, Derrick was one of the first comedians that I met in comedy in L.A. when I moved here. What year did you move to L.A.? You're from Houston, right?
Yeah, I'm from Houston, Texas. I moved here in 2000, man.
Okay, so you moved here about a year or two before me.
Yeah.
And we met, where did we meet?
I think we met at the Mixed Nuts Comedy Club, didn't we?
Yes, we did. I want to say early 2002 I met you.
Well, it could have been.
With Bo P. I met you from Bo P. That's who introduced us.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, Bo P, another funny comedian.
Yeah, Bo P had that show on Tuesday at Mixed Nuts.
Right,
and so Mixed Nuts was the only black comedy club. This is for Eddie's audience who doesn't know about this stuff. But Mixed Nuts was the only black comedy club in L.A. for how many, like, so when you moved here, Mixed Nuts was the only black club then?
Basically, yeah, it was.
Right, and were they still on Pico or had they moved?
Yeah, well, they were on, they were on Pico in Washington. I'm sorry, they was on 10th in Washington.
Okay, so they had moved because he was on Pico and La Brea before. He was on Pico and La Brea for a couple of years.
Yeah, he was. They was, yeah. Well, when I was going to it, I think when you and I kind of met, it was right there at 10th and Washington.
Yeah, 10th and Washington, which is a few blocks east of Crenshaw. 10th and Washington. I would tell people Washington and Crenshaw, because 10th they would not, but they knew Crenshaw. You know.
Mm-hmm. It was in that area.
So we would do shows there, and Derrick was like, you were like sort of the resident, headliner in that club. And
I was like one of the house comics.
Right,
yeah.
One of the house comics. And then I became one of the house comics later on.
Yeah.
Because when I first got there, I wasn't strong enough. I was 25. And Derrick, go ahead.
You was getting all the black pussy.
By the way, Derrick, you're talking to an audience that has the audience of this podcast have called in to complain about me using the word pussy. Would you like to? Would you like to? No, don't be sorry. I'm wondering if you would like to weigh in on that, because that is the most.
Well, they said, how the hell they think they got here?
As the woman in the room, I have no problem with the word pussy.
That's good. That's good. I wanted you.
Saying, if you think about it, if it wasn't for pussy, nobody would be here.
I think this is
pussy.
This is
pussy is a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
that's why I went to jail for buying it.
Emma agrees with you, by the way.
There's nothing wrong with the word pussy.
Well, Emma, she sounds like a very intelligent, creative woman herself.
There you go. There you go, Emma. That's thanks, Derrick. Thanks for weighing in on that. Yeah. I think this is what is really going on. I think there's just people who.
I'm looking for a white woman.
What?
I'm looking for a white woman so I can get my credit back.
Well, Emma's not single.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm sorry. I'm happily taken.
Yeah, she's taken.
If your husband ever fuck up, let me know.
I'll give you a call.
Derrick, hey, you've got some shit going on. Do you want to tell us? Because I see your shit on social media. What do you have going on? Tell us about what you're doing.
Matter of fact, this Friday I'm doing a show at the Hudson Theater off of Santa Monica.
What's it called? Say it again.
It's the Hudson Theater.
The Hudson Theater.
Yeah, right there on Santa Monica Boulevard.
I don't know, in downtown or in Hollywood.
Well, I guess it's off of Melrose. It's in Hollywood. As a matter of fact, the address is. I need my glasses.
Man, it's going to be Santa Monica or Melrose, because those two streets don't cross.
No. Actually, it's 6539 Santa Monica Boulevard.
Okay, so that sounds like it's in the heart of Hollywood.
Yeah, it's at the Hudson Theater.
Oh, at the Hudson Theater. Okay, and
I'll be there. I'll be there this Friday.
Okay,
I'll be doing that. I'll be doing that. Me, drag queen by the name of Flame, and this funny comedian named Precious. We're doing. I'm the only male on there.
Yeah, that's very special, brother.
Well, Flame a guy, but he ain't. You know what I mean?
So what time is that show at?
It starts at 8:30.
Okay, 8:30 Friday at the Hudson Theater on Santa Monica Boulevard.
Yeah.
8 p.m. You can catch Derrick Ellis. Who I would describe as a cross between Red Fox and, man, I think you're a modern day Red Fox, Derrick. That's who I think you are, brother.
Well, thank you for the compliment, Steve, and I would love for you guys to come, and especially if you in the industry, like you're a player, like a big time agent, just a manager, and just come see what you miss.
I'm glad you got sober, man, because the comedy world needs you. You know.
Well, man, let me tell you something. I had to go through that. That what made my creativity get to the level that it is, because I've been through the hard knocks, and I was able to come out of that with only God's grace and mercy.
Right.
I think that was my job. I had to go through there so I could really, when you go through some adversities in life, it will make you, it will humble you, it will let you know how situations can get. And so what it does for me was it made me a person who want to be able to do something so I can come back and help those who might be struggling with some type of substance, alcoholism, anger issue. You know what I mean?
Now, I was with you. I mean, we were spending time together in during that time when you were getting sober. And
yeah.
I remember your comedy changed a little bit. Do you want to talk about that? Your comedy changing from your time?
Well, one thing, I wasn't saying the same joke 3 times. You understand what I mean?
Wait, let me ask you this though to amend that question. You were funny before you got sober.
Well, I understand that. A lot of people say they loved me when I was drinking.
Right.
But the thing about it was that I was funny, but I thought I was a businessman, but I wasn't. This is show, and most importantly, it's a business. You understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's 10% show, 90% business. So to me, I could have been a funny, but I don't want to be the class clown that never go nowhere. You understand what I mean? So when you ain't taking care of business, it's just like a wasted talent. You understand what I mean? I see people very talented today who drank used themselves to homelessness on Skid Row, and they're a singer. They can sing, but they singing on Skid Row now.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is that's the whole idea. This is the business. So the thing for me is that when I was getting loaded, and I realized that I'm not exempt from anything. So that's why if you see somebody going through something, you can't frown on them. You don't know what the situation could allow that to happen. How their life was. What could have happened to them coming up. So you can't really criticize them. But now, if you see somebody just want to be stuck in that situation and don't get no help, want no help, no suggestion, then you kind of leave your hands, you leave them alone, and it's nothing you can do for that person. So I was that guy that was talented, but I was partying too much and not taking care of the business that God had given me the ability to make people laugh. I'm a natural comedian. I don't write nothing down. I've written stuff down a long time ago, but I have the ability to just come up with ideas, and so he gave me that ability. So if he give me something like that, I should be able to do this, whereas I can help people, whether that's helping somebody get through something. I can help industry because I'm marketable. And so, everybody, you know what I mean?
It's interesting to me that God kind of kept you from being successful when you were loaded, that you could have really exploded and become.
But I think
you would have destroyed yourself if that
would have killed myself.
Right.
Because I didn't know that I had a problem like that. You know what I mean? So God, like I say, God does things, they say he's not there when you want him, but he's right on time. You know what I mean?
When did you know you had a problem? Can you pinpoint that for us?
Well, my mother had told me that, quite naturally, like when I was like in my 20s, like 26, 25, really, because my problem with drinking really progressed when I was like 25 years old, 26. I was going out telling jokes. I was doing the road. I had done Comedy U already, and I was getting notoriety. But I enjoyed partying, and then when I came to L.A., which I was 30 when I came here, and Hollywood is full of sex, drugs, and alcohol. You know what I mean? So I was in Hollywood. I was doing, even though I didn't have the money, I was hanging with the people, though. You know what I mean? And so, in other words, but these people, they were handling their business. They could get loaded, they wake up and be at a meeting. You know what I mean? I couldn't do it.
You missed out. You missed out on a lot of shit because you were high.
Yeah. Well, that and the hunger in me wasn't that much neither. I mean, I just knew I was content with the stuff that I was getting at $20 here to $30 there, and the naked woman sometimes, and so my aspirations and goals wasn't once I was getting loaded wasn't there. You know what I mean?
It sounds like you were not on track. You were off the track of where you should be.
Well, I felt like I was, shit. I was partying, man. I was having a good time.
Yeah, you were, and a lot of us didn't know you were loaded. We just thought you were funny. I remember the one time I ran into you.
That's the killer part. That's the killer part about the disease of alcohol and drug abuse. Because some people you might not know that. Who knew that Robin Williams had a problem? Yeah. And so he was lonely, and he ended up killing himself. So, and he had $50 million in the bank.
Yeah,
his net worth. So what I'm saying is that and Hollywood loved him, but he was dying inside. So the thing for me, I didn't have the money, but I ain't dying inside no more. And so I got potential to get millions of dollars now.
Derrick, stay on the line here with me, okay? Because we're gonna go to an ad real quick. But right after the ad, we're gonna keep talking to Derrick Ellis, comedian extraordinaire, modern day Red Fox. But right now, for this 4th of July, don't be caught out in the cold. Keep your stupor warm and looking smart in any one of the high quality and fashionable merkin designs from Mendel's Surplus Merkin Outlet. Don't let the word surplus fool you. Mendel has been handcrafting bespoke genital wigs. Let me read that again. Don't let the word surplus fool you. Mendel has been handcrafting bespoke genital wigs since 1982. And this 4th of July, let Mendel wrap your shtickle in an Old Glory, a red, white, and blue unisex merkin that celebrates the founding of this great nation with sparklers, a small confetti cannon, and a miniature flag that goes up your dinkus while the national anthem plays. You might remember Old Glory as worn by Dixie Carter of Designing Women fame. But did you know that the original design was a collaboration with true Americans Gary Coleman and Ralph Lauren to combat John B. Anderson's independent run for president in 1980? You didn't know that. Neither did I. I don't even know if the producer who wrote that shit is making it up. And that's how we got Reaganism. Take it from Gary Coleman and Dixie Carter. There is nothing more pathetic than Old Glory on your keister or Petzl. At Mendel Surplus Merkin Outlet, we got you covered, America. Thank you, Mendel Surplus Merkin Outlet. And remember, Matt Rasamoto, our producer who writes these ads, he's a very sensitive guy, a wonderful, kind, and sensitive fellow. And he never mentions that the Merkins can be for females. Because the most famous Merkins, Derrick, I don't know if you know this, were for women who couldn't grow pubic hair. And so they would get fake genital wigs for themselves, but and Mendel. Okay, but our producer's very sensitive. He didn't want to write about that. He's writing for men who have no genital hair. So thank you, Matt Rasamoto, for your wonderful Merkin Reaganism, and I think Ronald Reagan was wearing a Merkin on his head when he when he won in 1980 when he defeated Mondale. No, Mondale. I don't know who it was. I was 4 years old. But hey, Pep Talks, please. I know this is a tragic Eddie Pepitoneless podcast, but please hit the donate button and donate to us so that Eddie can be here more often, so that he doesn't leave you with me. If you donate to this podcast, if you hit the donate button on our website, that's right, our Pep Talks website, it will be much less likely that you're stuck with me on the fucking podcast, and much more likely that Eddie will have better reasons to be here than fighting traffic to get to the hospital or wherever he's at. He's fine, by the way. So, Derrick, welcome back, buddy.
Oh yeah, well, I like to comment. Speaking of vagina, pubic hair on a woman. Matter of fact, if a woman ain't got no hair down there, I think I had one girl. She had cut out her hair off her little thing down there, and she wanted me to go down on her, and I told her she's 6 years old. I'm not a pedophile. You know what I mean?
She was 60 years old.
No, I said she cut out her hair off her thing, so I thought she was about 6 years old. She was 50. But her pussy was 6 years old, so I could not do nothing.
Okay, well, that is why you need to visit Mendel's Merkin Outlet, Merkin Surplus Outlet,
right,
so you can get
an afro.
That's right, get a little afro down there, or if you're white, you get an afro if you're white.
White women get weed, so it's good.
Yeah, and Derrick, tell us about the time that you took the Viagra. Can you tell us?
Viagra. I took some Viagra, but the chick didn't show up.
What happened?
But guess what? Her cat was smart because the cat jumped out the window. You know what I mean?
The cat knew it was next.
Yeah, hell yeah, I was gonna fuck the cat. You know what I mean? Yeah.
What? How did the kitchen? What happened in the kitchen?
Because the cat had a lot of hair on it. You know what I mean?
The cat had more hair than that 50-year-old woman.
Yeah.
So what about in the kitchen? Didn't something happen in the kitchen?
Well, yeah. Well, when I realized that the woman didn't show up, I ended up fucking everything in the icebox. You know what I mean?
Did you have sex with them? Did you have sex?
I stuck my dick in some Jello pudding pop. You know.
I won't even go to the Bill Cosby reference there. What about?
You know what? If I had known, that's probably why I passed out, because I think he drugged that shit. Yeah.
What about?
I did fall out.
What about the mop? What happened between you and the mop?
Shit, I screwed the mop. You know.
Didn't you have a conversation with the mop?
Yeah, I said, "Damn, you got too much hair on your pussy."
All right, Derrick. That is beautiful, man. You got anything else you want to promote? Hey, what?
Well, man, this is what I wanted to tell you. I wrote like 5 books. I mean, can I talk about that?
Yeah, yes. Plug your books, man.
Yeah, I wrote 5 books, and one of the books I wrote after coming out of this, which was my third book. It was called From Vodka to Coffee. I had to get sober, stay broke. That was a very, very, it's what you call an inspirational book. And I had just written that for people who might be going through something. And it ain't even just about alcohol and drugs. It's just about once, your ears pop, cause like when your ears pop, you can hear. And you can hear clearly, and so you could kind of look at life in another perspective. You know what I mean? You can look at it in terms of what I realized for me is that I could build more self-esteem in myself. I had more values in life, and you know what I mean. And morals, and you know what I mean. Just in general, I'd be more respectful. And so that happened for me when my body and my mind cleared up. You know what I mean?
Okay, what were your other books? Because you've written a couple. Didn't you write?
Yeah, I wrote a book. I wrote a book. One of my most best-selling books was called The Comic Killer. It's It's a suspense, mystery, dark humor, and it's about a character named Denver Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is a fictional book. I mean, I created the story, but it centers around the fact that this guy kind of grew up in a homeless shelter, and but he was coming up as a kid. He was he lost his mother at a very young age. His mother died. You know, a lot of times the mama is the.
This sounds like a tragedy, man.
Well, actually, the way for him it was a tragic in the beginning. It was a tragedy, and because his daddy went to prison when he was very young, and he ended up going into to a shelter. You know, where a lot of kids go, but in his shelter, he had a lot of anger issues. But however, one of the counselors realized that the guy he was a very funny guy too. So in other words, he ended up, that's what he caught the comedy bug. And so he could kind of like get rid of his anger by expressing it and forget about his past with losing his mother and the incarceration of his daddy. He could kind of be humorous, that he would forget about it as he developed his stand-up material. So he phoned the Nat to do stand-up in the shelter.
Okay.
You know? So
so
he goes on and he gets, it's a good story though, man. And matter of fact, I got a movie. I got a deal. We're doing a movie. So, and matter of fact, I thought about you too. A part in there.
Yeah.
I
get to be the token white guy.
Now, well, it's gonna be more than one white guy. But it's it's just the fact. It's something you might be interested.
Yeah, but, you got to pay me.
Huh?
You got to pay me, man. You got to pay me something.
Oh yeah, I'm pay. You ain't. Everybody gonna get paid. It's a production. But it's like, but this will be my. Since I wrote 5 books, I want to do like 3 films. So I'm getting into the
I'd
film
be honored.
business.
I'm half kidding. I would be honored to be in your. I would be honored to be in Comic Killer. As long as I'm not the killer.
It might be a different name. You know what I mean? It might be different, but trust me, I'll be doing a movie.
I believe you. If you're doing it, I'm in. If you're doing it, I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so what you got? Any upcoming shows besides Friday? There's some. I see you promoting stuff all the time. You have any other future?
Yeah. Well, I just did a show. I was at the Comedy Union for this tribute to the Elliott brothers, family member. They do a celebration of his life. We did a comedy show, which was a great show we did. I just did that recently, but I had been on the road prior to that. So really, I just been,
You just got back, and you're getting your shows going again. Got it.
So we're gonna start casting for this film. This gonna be nice, and so that's what I'm really focused on.
All right, all right. Well, look for it. Look for it. Derrick Ellis. What is your social media? Picture out your social media real quick, so people can follow you on. Yeah.
Social media. I'm at, of course, Facebook is Derrick Ellis. FW for Funny Wear. Of course, Funny Wear. I got like an active clothing line called Funny Wear.
That's right, Funny Wear.
Like a novelty thing. So anyway, my Facebook is Derrick Ellis FW, and also on the Instagram, I'm Derrick Ellis the Comedian, and on Twitter, I'm Funny Wear. Right. Of course, you can see me on YouTube. I got several clips on YouTube.
And that's Derrick DERRICK, everybody. Derrick.
DERRICK, yeah. DERRICK.
Yep. Not to be confused with D. Ellis, who is another comedian. This is Derrick Ellis, and this is.
Yeah, I'm the real Derrick Ellis. You remember like in that movie Cadillac Records, Lil Walter? You said your name was Lil Woo, and he shot it. You know what I mean? But I'm just playing. But it's Derrick Ellis. Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite comedians and one of my very dear friends, brother. Thank you for for calling in. I'm sorry we couldn't get you here live. We'll get you here again
Man,
live so you
wanted
can meet Eddie Pepitone, who was probably the greatest living comedian. And that's, I mean, I'm not even exaggerating. So we got to get you two together at some point.
Yeah, man, maybe we could do something together, man. Let's do a movie or something. Let's do something. Let's do something big, man. Shit, let's do a tour. Goddamn.
All right, man. We're gonna do it, Derrick. You know I've been dying to do stuff with you. So, all right, brother. Well, thanks for calling in, and we'll see you again. He's gonna be at the Hudson Theater in Hollywood, 8 p.m. with the drag queens. He's the token straight male, and you will be hearing the word pussy quite a bit on Friday night. So, all right, brother. Thank you for calling in, and we'll catch up with you. I'll catch up with you soon.
All right, bro. Thank you. Thank you. You have a good one.
You too.
Nice meeting you, beautiful young lady.
You too.
See you, D.
All right. Have a great one.
All right. Peace,
All right.
man.
Peace out.
Bye.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was Derrick. What are we at, Emma? How are we looking?
We're at 50 minutes.
Oh, my gosh. Thank God.
He's quite a character.
Yes. Now, could you imagine him and Eddie Pepitone on a TV show together?
I think it would be hilarious.
Would it not? Would that not be fucking hilarious? That's why I want him to come in here. I've been trying to get these two guys together. It would be like Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor. It really would.
Yeah, it would.
You should see him live. I would just go to the club. When I was writing for Cat, I wrote for Cat Williams. Are you a Cat Williams?
Yeah, my sister and I used to watch Cat specials when we were growing up.
So, wow, that makes me feel a little older than I thought I was.
I'm a baby.
Yeah. So I was writing for him, and, I came out of these black clubs, and I said to Cat, because I noticed he didn't have Derrick Ellis in his crew, and he had a lot of funny comics in his crew, but he didn't have Derrick Ellis. And I said, are you a fan of Derrick Ellis? What do you think of Derrick Ellis? I just was curious, as an artist, one funny person to another funny person. And Kat said to me, I used to go to the club just to watch Derrick Ellis. I used to just sit in the club and watch him, just to watch him perform. Now I can't even look at the motherfucker. That was in 2007. And that was because he was high. Because he was, I think because he was loaded. And I didn't even know that. Because Derrick was loaded, and so, I don't know if Cat's weird. Cat's got some weird personal shit. But everybody in hood comedy and black comedy knows this guy's the funniest guy. Everybody. It's just white people don't know who he is, So it's just a matter of, I thought Eddie's audience would really, dig him, especially to hear him. So I hope you catch him, or you see him, or you can, if you don't see him, you can come see him with me. He and I are performing together on June 22nd and 23rd in Barnsdall Park. Do you know where that is, Emma?
I love Barnsdall.
Cool.
My friends and I go there every 4th of July to watch the fireworks.
Well, you know what? I'm going to get you passes to come to the comedy festival.
When is it?
It's the 22nd and 23rd, Saturday, Sunday of June this month.
Oh, okay.
So if you're here, I'm going to get you passes. People, please look up Los Angeles Stand-Up Comedy Festival. That guy will be there. Mark Brazil will be on the show, who's been on the podcast a couple times. I will be there. If you haven't seen me live, it's like $20 or $30 for like the whole weekend. So get a pass, and we have one more ad that we're gonna read. I'm gonna read. This is our final ad. Well, holy shit! It's that time again. Another Pep Talks is all but over, thank God. But before you stop listening and go back to watching pornography, Matt, this comes from your life, Matt. Take a second and press that button or subscribe. Press that button to like or subscribe. It means a lot to us. Although we can't exactly quantify why or how it affects us personally, we are told that it does. In fact, that's why Eddie isn't here today. Wow. Apparently, we don't get him back until you write a review on iTunes. Please do not review this podcast if you have negative things to say, because I just can't take it. Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference didn't go so well this month, so Apple is starting to kidnap podcasters and hold them ransom until people start using iTunes more. I know it sounds insane, but if you read your iPhone user agreement, it's one of the least crazy things in there. Or don't, and we'll rename the show Lollapalooza, and my co-host will be my former British Prime Minister and my open mic comic, Anthony Eden. Politics aside, that guy's a hoot. Seriously, people, hit the donate button. Donate to us, even if it's $5 or $10. A lot of you have, by the way, we have had donations, and Eddie and I have been actually will be getting paid for this. So thank you so much for those of you who have donated to our podcast, and to Matt Rasamoto, our producer, who wrote these great ads and continues to be amazing. He created an amazing website, peptalkspodcast.com. Again, that's peptalkspodcast.com. And thank you to Emma Erdbrink. Thank you, Emma.
Woohoo.
Yeah, for being a great person for me to talk to about horror movies.
That's what I'm here for.
And Aaron Brungardt. These are engineers, and Emma, part-time co-host on the show. I think, did I leave out any information? Oh, leave a message for us. 424-262-0904. That's 424-262-0904. And email us, fanmail at peptalkspodcast.com. One more time, that's fanmail at peptalkspodcast.com. I am Stephen Lally, speaking on behalf of the great, talented, brilliant Eddie Pepitone, and saying thank you guys for tuning in, whoever you are that stayed here, and even for those of you who tuned out. We'll see you next week.